Most people hear having no friends and instantly think something is wrong. That it means you're broken, awkward, or missing out on life. But psychology tells a very different story. For some people, growing up or living without close friends doesn't weaken them, it quietly shapes rare inner strengths that last a lifetime. If this has ever been part of your story, this isn't a flaw. It's a different path. And it comes with advantages most people never develop. The first advantage is deep self-reliance. Psychology shows that when you don't have a social safety net to fall back on, your mind learns to regulate itself. You become your own source of reassurance, motivation, and stability. Instead of constantly seeking validation, you learn how to sit with your thoughts and solve problems internally. For example, when something goes wrong, you don't panic looking for someone to tell you what to do. You pause, think, and act. This kind of emotional independence is strongly linked to resilience later in life. What once felt like being alone slowly trained you to trust yourself, and that trust doesn't disappear. The second advantage is heightened emotional awareness. Research indicates that people who spend more time alone tend to develop stronger introspection skills. When there's no group noise to distract you, you become more aware of subtle emotions, both yours and others. You notice tone shifts, mood changes, and unspoken feelings that many people miss. Maybe you've always been the one who senses tension in a room or understands how someone feels without them saying much. That sensitivity often comes from years of quietly observing instead of constantly interacting. What others call overthinking is often just emotional intelligence that formed early. The third advantage is strong internal identity. Psychology suggests that constant social comparison can blur self-identity. When you don't have a tight friend group shaping your opinions, tastes, or behavior, you're forced to figure out who you are on your own. Your values come from reflection, not pressure. You like what you like without needing approval. This is why many people who grew up without friends feel different, not better or worse, just more grounded in themselves. You're less likely to lose yourself trying to belong, because you learn early how to stand alone without disappearing. The fourth advantage is creativity and depth of thought. Research on solitude shows that unstructured alone time strengthens imagination and problem solving. When you don't spend hours socializing, your mind fills the space with ideas, stories, questions, and inner worlds. This is why many writers, thinkers, and creatives report long periods of social isolation in their early lives. Even if you don't see yourself as creative, you likely think deeply, make unexpected connections, or see patterns others overlook. Your mind learned how to entertain itself, and that's a powerful skill in a world full of noise. The fifth advantage is selective connection. Psychology indicates that people who've experienced loneliness often become very intentional about relationships later in life. You don't need many connections, you need real ones. You're less interested in small talk and more drawn to depth, honesty, and meaning. This can make it harder to connect casually, but when you do connect, it's genuine. You value quality over quantity because you know what it feels like to have nothing, and that awareness makes you loyal, present, and sincere when the right people do enter your life. If you've lived with no friends for a long time, it's easy to internalize the idea that you missed out. But the truth is, you are developing strengths most people never notice because they're busy blending in. Your quiet resilience, your emotional depth, your independence, these aren't accidents. They're adaptations. And they matter. You weren't empty during those years. You were building something internal. Something solid. Something rare. If this resonated with you, you're not alone in this experience, even if it felt that way for a long time. Subscribe to the channel for more calm, honest psychology insights that help you understand your personality and your past with clarity and self-respect.